Welcome to Module 2 of the MELI Unit's Data Collection Methods course. In this module, we will introduce you to foundational concepts of data collection ethics and informed consent, including basics of personally identifiable information, history of informed consent regulations, and components of informed consent. Let's get started. Let's start by looking at personally identifiable information, or PII, which is any information that can be used to identify, locate, or contact the individual. There are two types of PII. The first are direct identifiers, which includes information such as the individual's full name, a mailing or home address, city of residence, dates relating to the individual such as date of birth, disability status, email address, telephone number, passport number, and physical or biological identifiers such as physical appearance through photo or video data collection, fingerprints, DNA, etc. And the second type are indirect identifiers, which are pieces of information that can be combined with other information to potentially re-identify a specific individual even when direct identifiers have been removed. Indirect identifiers include unique, observable, or other characteristics such as program track, cohort year, age, and or country of citizenship. The possibility of an indirect identifier being used to re-identify an individual increases when the respondent pool is small. For example, collecting information on city and state of an exchange participant. Along with PII, we are also concerned with sensitive data, which includes information that poses a risk to the individual or entity if it is collected or released in a way that it can be linked to a specific individual. This could include income, assets, or health status, the public release of which could harm survey respondents. We protect PII and sensitive data through rigorous informed consent procedures that tell respondents how we intend to use their information. Before we get into what informed consent looks like, let's explore how regulations around information have developed in the United States. The Tuskegee study was conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the United States Public Health Service and Centers for Disease Control on a group of nearly 400 African American men with syphilis. The purpose of the study was to observe the effects of the disease when untreated, though by the end of the study, medical advancements meant it was entirely treatable. The men were not informed of the nature of the experiment, and more than 100 died as a result. The 40-year Tuskegee study was a major violation of ethical standards and has been cited as arguably the most infamous biomedical research study in U.S. history. And revelations from the study led to the creation of the National Commission for the Protection of Human Subjects of Biomedical and Behavioral Research in 1974. The commission was established with four major lines of inquiry: the boundaries between biomedical and behavioral research and what the accepted and routine practices of medicine were, assessing the risks and benefits of the appropriateness of research involving human subjects, determining appropriate guidelines for how human subjects can be chosen for their participation in such research, and defining what informed consent is in each research setting. The Commission issued the Belmont Report in 1979. The key principle of the Belmont Report was respect for persons in data collection through the following: autonomy, meaning to give weight to autonomous persons' considered opinions and choices while refraining from obstructing their actions unless they are clearly detrimental to others, voluntariness, and informed consent. The Belmont Report eventually led to the creation of U.S. regulations for the protection of research subjections, most notably DHHS Code of Federal Regulations, 45 CFR 46, Basic HHS Policy for the Protection of Human Research Subjects, aka Common which was established in 1991. So what are the components of informed consent? The following items should be written into your consent script, which should be presented to each participant or respondent in full as you begin data collection. First is the data collection purpose, which is where you explain to a respondent in plain English why you want to collect this information from them. For example, the goal of this survey is to understand the relationships you have built as a result of your participation in the program. The survey will also ask questions about your life after participation in the program. You will want to lay out the expected time commitment. For example, the survey contains 35 questions and should take 20 minutes on average to complete. You'll tell respondents if their participation is voluntary or required and any risks or benefits associated with participation. For example, please note that your participation in this survey is voluntary and you are free to end the survey at any time. We do not anticipate that participating in this survey will result in any risks or direct benefit to you. You'll also need to specify whether you are promising confidentiality or complete anonymity. Promising confidentiality means the identity of the respondent is known to the evaluator or the individuals collecting data, but the evaluator takes steps to protect the identity of the respondent. Promising anonymity means the identity of the individual responding, typically to a survey, is unknown to the evaluator or individuals collecting data. Information provided by the respondent cannot be used in tandem with other data or databases to identify respondents. Another quick example. All the responses you provide during this survey will be kept confidential to the furthest extent possible. Only the researchers directly involved in this study will have access to your personal information. Here, perhaps confidential was used because email addresses are being collected. But if there is no way for you to tie back a survey response to a precise individual, then this consent language should be changed to highlight that it was anonymous instead of confidential. You'll also explain how data will be used, shared, and stored. Another quick example. Aggregated responses or de-identified qualitative insights from open-ended questions may be included in the final report or publications resulting from the evaluation. De-identified data files will be submitted to the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, BCA, at the U.S. Department of State upon completion of the evaluation without names or any contact information. The data you provide may be reanalyzed at a later date for a follow-up study or other purpose approved by ECA. And lastly, you will want to provide a point of contact that respondents can reach out to with questions or to withdraw their consent. Final example. You may withdraw your consent at any time by contacting ECA Evaluation at state.gov. Now, there are a couple of additional considerations you'll want to think about when you are writing your informed consent language. The first is whether you are working with minors. If this is the case, then you will need to do the following. Obtain parental or legal guardian's consent and child's assent before data collection takes place. Remember that parental or legal guardian's consent should be documented. Use different informed consent language for each party, i.e. for the parent or guardian and the minor. And the second is the national privacy and data storage laws and regulations involved. Different countries have different data privacy laws, that you will likely need to take into account as you prepare for data collection. Ask yourself, what protections, rights, or guarantees must be ensured when collecting personal data from visitors or program participants according to the national law or laws where I am conducting data collection? What are the implications of these laws? So, do I really need a consent script for my data collection? Yes! Informed consent by way of consent scripts should not be viewed as optional in human subjects research, even in smaller or more informal data collection. And that's it for our module on data collection ethics and informed consent. When you're ready, you can head back to the training overview and move on to Module 3 on survey development.